Yo, 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 welcome to February, you trick-ass, mark-ass, sketchy-ass sluts. We are going so hard with this episode, it's gonna poke out the front, you feel me? You're gonna have dreams that you're hanging wallpaper and wake up with a handful of glue, my boy. As you can see in the background, we have the Just Business mission from GTA San Andreas, which is always a surefire chuckle-getter. I've decided that I'm going to make all the backgrounds in this video some of our favorite missions from the series. Don't get me wrong, I love GTA 5, but San Andreas was just an awesome hood epic with some seriously outdated graphics. But we didn't know any better then. Remember Goldeneye for Nintendo 64? That shit looks janky as hell now. But dollars to donuts, you couldn't find a better first-person shooter in 1998 than Goldeneye 64. Maybe I should include a mission from that somewhere in here. I don't know, we'll see if we have time. If we do, it's totally gonna be the Archives mission. Rocket launchers or grenade launchers in the Archives with those narrow-assed hallways. You couldn't find a better way to piss your friends off and get them to throw their controllers with the intent to break them. Those were the best times. Me, I am just as miserable this week as I was last week. I have been making enemies left and right. It's just the way I am. Sooner or later, I end up rubbing people the wrong way. I'm just going to have to accept the fact that I have a repellent personality. But truck driving school is looming on the horizon, and I will be able to get out of everyone's hair and everything can go back to normal. I'll be out on the road and people will soon forget that I even exist, making everyone happy in the process, including me. It is like Kipling said, from Gehenna or up to the throne, he travels fastest who travels alone. I'm not really sure what that means, but I think it means that you're better off alone, without anyone to give their unsolicited approval or kowtow to. I am 100% aware that I have haters that are working their hardest, doing what they do best, probably watching this because I've managed to chill them out for the time being. But leopards don't change their stripes, so I need to choose my words carefully. These wank pheasant grimy little pimps will use the best parts of you against yourself, and you have to be ready for that bullshit at every turn. They must have amnesia. They forgot that I am him. Those punks can't even get inside the building. But me, I go wherever I want, whenever I want. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything cool to report to you, other than the fact that my boss is on vacation for a week, meaning we can run wild at work and do whatever we want. I am just kidding. The whole name of the game these days is low profile. Do you people even understand the word low profile? It means not drawing attention to yourself like an asshole. Just stay the course and work the program. Fuck the haters and the noise. Sooner or later, we will look back on these early episodes and realize that all of this anxiety and all of this paranoia and worry was for nothing. It won't matter because these people never mattered in the first place. Sometimes you have to do the best thing for you. And of course that will drive your haters nuts because the attention isn't on them. They will try to make you feel bad because after long last you are working to make yourself better. And they don't want that. They want you to stay damaged. How can they assert their imagined power over you when you've strengthened your mind and spirit and are making all of the decisions in your own life? You made these things happen, not them. Make them eat their words and a big fat dick while they're at it. Now how about some Vice City, y'all? It's hard to believe that this is the 6th video we have made this year. That means that by the time you're done watching this channel will have produced 6 hours of quality television. Perhaps I should create a playlist so you can watch them all in order. This was me and my brother's favorite mission on Vice City. I remember we used to fail it on purpose so other people could play. Or we'd just not save it to our memory cards, and everyone would have to insert theirs to play it over and over and over again. If you had any illusions that I would pick another mission after stating that the backgrounds would be some of our favorites, you must be smoking goon rocks. I thought it was called something else, so it took me a second to find it on YouTube, but here you go. Oh, you know what? Something interesting did happen this week. I almost forgot. Okay, so it's no secret that I don't work any harder than I have to in order to maintain employment. Kind of a don't work hard, work smart type situation. So anyway, my boss showed up unexpectedly at my assigned job site and offered me extra shifts and some double shifts. Overtime, yo. She also said that some of these schools have requested me by name to work for them, which is flattering. It is also confusing at the same time because, as I mentioned before, I'm not the hardest worker, and sometimes there are long gaps between showers. I'm showing all the classic signs of functional depression, but I've grown so accustomed to masking my true feelings. Yet, without even trying in the least, I'm basically getting handed the opportunity to make more money. The world is a strange place, Kay, no? Of course I am going to take this opportunity to pad my bank account. I want to fly to California in April. I want to see my daughter on her 17th birthday, as I have never missed a birthday and I am not starting now. Then afterward, I can start truck driving school with a clear conscience and an open mind, ready to learn how to operate these big bastards. Then I will just get as much experience as I can, working for one of those mega carriers who will pay for me to get my CDL and put me under contract to pay that debt back. That works for me, as I don't have the money to pay for school up front. Once I start driving a truck solo, that will be when this channel really comes into its own. Because then instead of bullshit video game backgrounds, it will be me out on the open road, exploring this beautiful country and getting into adventures. Honestly, I was never really into GTA 3, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I don't have anything against it, I just played Vice City more than Part 3. And I could explain in a million different ways why I didn't like it, but let's just say it wasn't my cup of tea. So like I said, if you don't count Liberty City Stories or Vice City Stories in the equation, GTA 3 was my least favorite. Yeah, it was groundbreaking for its time or whatever, but just look at it. It looks like some shit some pimple-faced kid made on his computer. Plus, this game came out right after 9/11, and we were all too bummed out to be running around a fictional version of New York City committing crimes. Like this mission, for example, you have to shoot down a plane with a rocket launcher. That's in poor taste. And even though this is my least favorite, I'm going to stick it in the middle of everything, because it isn't good enough for the opening, and it for damn sure isn't good enough to end with. You won't even remember that it's here after a while. Trust me, bro. I remember earlier in 2001, a game in the Driver series came out where you could actually get out of the car and be a menace on foot. And sure, Rockstar did a much better job than Reflections, but the main character doesn't talk and swimming is impossible. What kind of shit is that? It's some bullshit is what it is. There was a reason there was only 2 years between the release of GTA 3 and Vice City. And yeah, you still couldn't swim, but the main character was voiced by Ray Liotta, from Goodfellas. Come on now. Burt Reynolds, Gary Busey, and Jenna Jameson all lent their voice talents to Vice City. There isn't a single aspect of GTA 3 that can compare to Vice City. Also, that bank manager dude from The Dark Knight was the voice of the coked-up lawyer. That's a talent pool. I have to say, roasting these old games is much better than talking about my boring, depressing life. If I were to do that, you'd be begging for a length of rope and a sturdy beam. Up next, we are going to Grand Theft Auto 4, which almost everyone loved. I thought it was just okay. Much is made of the ragdoll physics, and they all had a good laugh, but I wasn't impressed. It looks too cartoony. Okay, so I had a choice between the Stairway to Hell or the Bridge of Death, and after considering putting them both, I decided, fuck that. I'll just do the bridge because it's less than a minute long, and then we'll do the archives from Goldeneye. Ever since I brought up the archives mission, I have been wanting to do it, and the prerequisite of time constraints mattered to me less and less. I'm sorry, but I think all of the Liberty City games are lame. I wasn't even gaming when this came out. In fact, I have never owned a PlayStation 3 and I didn't play one until I played Resident Evil 5 with my niece after I moved here. So for all you math whizzes out there, less than 4 months ago, I was too busy having a small child to raise. Come at me, bro. But did you see that lame shit right there? 4 police cars approached me from the opposite direction, and they all did the exact same thing. Not one of them got the idea to ram me head on. That's why this game sucks, but you do funny things with your legs. Big whoop. You know what? Fuck this shit. Let's get over to Goldeneye. Yes, look at all those polygons. Nintendo 64 was peak gaming, and that is a hill that I am totally willing to die on. This game and Super Mario Kart 64 are cornerstones of my gaming life. This game walks so that Call of Duty and Modern Warfare could run. There was a gun on here called the NPC 3PO90 that had an insane rate of fire and could chop a jumping Russian or a rolling Russian in half. Time to leave, Dr. Doak. I remember when we would play multiplayer, this dude I grew up with would always be Oddjob, and he'd stay in the kneeling position and slide across the floor like a ghost, low enough to where you wouldn't see him until he was right up on your ass. Oof, did you see that headshot, bro? It knocked his silly little furry cap right off his exploded dome. Maybe this would be a good time to say that parental discretion is advised, but will be completely fucking ignored. Who needs ragdoll physics when you have that? You have to make your way through the archives, wading through these meat shields and commie uniforms until you find that chump-stained Dmitry Mishkin, to recover the black box from the helicopter that he has stored in the safe. Classic storyline. Here I'd be double-fisting some nickel-plated pistols, but I'd much rather use that choppa, that KF-7 Soviet. It's an AK ripoff, but it still does the job. Assault rifles got that tumbling going on, tissue displacement, ballistic trauma, kill 'em all. Then when you finally find Natalia, she always gets piss-scared and takes off running for her life, even when you are standing right there. It's better to see Mishkin first before releasing her from her captors, because her dumbass will get whacked accidentally on purpose. She is a liability, yo. And as far as Bond girls go, Natalia was mid as hell. In fact, Xenia was way hotter than she was. Bond be eating beans when he could be eating steak, but this was the Pierce Brosnan Bond, the gayest of Bonds. He was no Sean Connery. Some people, like my old man, won't even acknowledge the existence of the new Bond movies. I watched that new one with Mr. Robot and Ana de Armas and thought it was pretty good. But I'd watch Ana de Armas just stare into the camera for 90 minutes. That girl is too hot to be wasted on Ben Affleck. I'd eat a mile of her shit just to find out where it came from. I'd drink her piss out of another man's balls. I'd stuff her bunghole full of sour diesel until all she wanted to do was fuck my brains out, then euthanize herself. I don't even remember who played Natalia in this movie. Probably some Ukrainian model. She probably modeled gloves. She has a face only a mother could love, but unfortunately for her, she has two dads. But Goldeneye is the tits. Do you know what they call the tits in France? They don't have the metric system, so they call it lay tits. But here in the United States, when you say something is the tits, that means that it is top shelf, high quality shit. It means it's the shiznit. So once you got the black box and once this dumb bitch goes running through the archives, all that's left is to break out a second-story window so you can jump out and trigger this awesome cinematic. Watch the technological capabilities of 1997 right here. While we get into the best of the Grand Theft Auto series, I must say that I am very sick, and even called out a couple of days this week. Basically, last Saturday we was starting to feel it, and by Sunday, it was full-on balls-to-the-wall snot nose. By Monday, I was fucked. So as I mentioned before, my boss is out of town, so this will probably look bad on me, as I am having to call out to her boss, who, if you ask me, is kind of a dick. The first day I called out, he responded with a fucking yellow thumbs up emoji, and the second time he just said, K. No compassion, no hey, how are you feeling, or any of that shit. I also found out through the grapevine that a bunch of kids are out of school. And a bunch of teachers as well, some kind of protest against these immigration raids that have been going on lately. I'm not going to even get into the political implications of that, but I worry that they think I am involved in that hippie horse shit. I can't blame them if they do, because it's common knowledge that I'm from California. They probably think I organized it. But the truth is, between you and me, I didn't even know it was going on until after I called out. I went down to the CVS at the corner of Madison and Stop 11, when I witnessed a fight between two mouth breathers in the lot. I have no idea what they were fighting over, but the mutant standing over watch at the self-checkout had to come over and scan my license for goddamn cough medicine, so I missed the first part of it. I just grabbed my Mucinex and vitamin C and got the hell out of there. It's hard to rest, let alone sleep, when your nose is constantly running and you're coughing like a seal. My cough reminds me of those big sea lions that hang out on the docks in the marina of San Francisco. Perhaps I should go to the doctor and get some real meds. But I watched Monday Night Raw from a couple of days earlier, and when that was over, I watched the 2005 film Cinderella Man. That is one of my favorite movies, in case you were wondering. Oh, I don't know if we have any wrestling fans watching, but Indianapolis had a pretty big weekend. It was lit. The 2025 Royal Rumble. But before I get into the wrestling gossip, as an honorable mention, here is The Warriors, one of the best games Rockstar ever made. Totally underrated. Only real ones remember this. But anyway, the Rumble was held last Saturday, with 70,000 people filling Lucas Oil Stadium. The men's Rumble was won by Jey Uso, which if anyone says they picked him to win, they are a lying piece of dog shit. The women's Rumble was won by Ric Flair's daughter, because she is Ric Flair's daughter. She didn't even qualify for the match, she just showed up. The easy bet would have been John Cena, because he's doing his retirement tour about 10 years too late. So this year, a total underdog won it. I found that kinda cool. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens had a gnarly ladder match for the title. At one point, Owens suplexed Cody out of the corner and cracked the back of his dome on a ladder lying on the ground. And then later, Cody hit an Alabama slam on Owens onto a ladder set up between the announce table and the ring. I thought he was dead. The other matches were meaningless to me, but let's just watch this gameplay here. I didn't say much about Grand Theft Auto 5, but do I even need to? That game is the GOAT. I wonder if there is a way to download it onto my PlayStation 4. I'll look into it. So this was the opening level, where you learn the controls so you can do the cool missions like this, running away from the Turnbull's bus. There was another mission near the end when you had to outrun those leather boys, the main antagonists. Monkeys in the truck. Can we bring a video of that up? Running away from the rogues in that graffiti-covered hearse? Man, this game is so awesome, isn't it? Okay, they are telling me they will bring it up as soon as this clip is over. Thanks. I should have done a whole video of just this game. It is totally awesome. Okay, they're queuing it up, so check this out. Okay, so I saw this clip while it was getting ready to play, and I have to say that it is kind of brief, much shorter than I remember. But I was drinking and ingesting lots of dangerous chemicals during this time, so I can't really say one way or the other. And also, for the record, this will probably be the last clip of the night. It's almost time for my next scheduled dose of Mucinex and vitamin C, after which I'm going to try and get some sleep. My roommates just came in and asked if I needed water, which is a nice way of saying that I am coughing too loud and driving everybody else in the house crazy. Like, oh, I'm sorry that these involuntary chest spasms and nose convulsions are bothering you. They are making me feel like hammered shit as well. No sympathy for the devil, keep that in mind. Buy the ticket, take the ride. Hopefully, I will be better by tomorrow, because I'm sure they have that unconstitutional 3 absences require a doctor note policy. They were prying into your medical history before COVID. Remember when just random people would ask you if you were vaccinated like it was any of their business? When I got sick of my rights getting trampled on, I started asking men if they ever had erectile dysfunction problems, if a man asked me about my status. If a woman asked me, I'd immediately ask her if she ever had an abortion. In that moment, you could see how much they liked discussing their medical history in public. I'd be like, oh, you don't want to have this conversation anymore. You never should have brought it up. And just one more thing about the pandemic, and I'll let it go. These same people that are calling out of work and freaking out about deportations and families being separated are the people that made sure your grandma died alone in a nursing home. Don't forget that. So since the running mission was so short, I went ahead and kept the Warriors come out to play scene and the final showdown between Swan and Luther. I don't think it has that Joe Walsh song at the end because of the copyrights. The Eagles suck anyway. The Grateful Dead and the Eagles are probably the most overrated bands to ever exist. And what's crazy is that people in California revere these wonks like gods. All this talk about COVID got me thinking, what if I have COVID? Is that what this is? Well, if that is the case, I guess it is time for the big sleep. It was nice knowing you guys. I want to thank Planet Earth for providing me with all the tragedy. I needed it for my art. I want to be cremated and have my ashes spread somewhere on the Olympic Peninsula. In fact, scratch that. You can spread them anywhere except for California. Those idiots will probably tax my ashes. Nah, I'm not gonna die. My haters will have to wait for another day. My will to live is congruent with my want to make you mad whenever I can. You should see my little trash can. It is filled with snot rags. You know, used Kleenex. Little balls of paper with a booger filling. Just bite into it like a donut. At some point, I have to take that thing out. It is an open pit of biohazardous waste at this point. Well, that's our show for this week. Like I said before, this is basically how lame the channel is going to be until I get out onto the road. Pray for me as I have been grounded with this head cold, but I got that Mucinex. I will probably be okay. Hopefully I won't get fired.